And I think that that's a really interesting way of looking at characters and also at people, because we're all kind of a partial result of the things that have happened to us in this life and how that helps shape how we respond to that and how we go forward, even when we're not dealing with directly with the trauma that we dealt with before. And I think that that's a really, really cool way of looking at characters and also at people. And I think it's particularly applicable in a therapeutic setting. So that's one of the reasons why I was so excited to bring you guys a taste of Changeling the Lost. We're going to be picking up with what we've been doing with these one-shot sessions. Is I started out with a very small plot line, and the first cohort went through and worked on that plot line. And then I based the second cohort's plot line off of what the first cohort had decided to do. So now you guys, as the third cohort, are going to be kind of picking up with what the second cohort and the first cohort had brought in. A little bit that you would know about your characters and the world that they live in. You guys are all part of a motley, which is a loosely based word for how changelings come together. It can be anything from a family, like literally a maternal or paternal type character that takes in younger changelings and teaches them the ropes. It can be kind of like a gang. It can be a business. So basically any kind of grouping that the changelings formally unite together. The core ideas are that you're protecting each other and you're not working against each other, but how that looks can vary from motley to motley. You guys are all part of a freehold, which is the changeling presence in a general area. The freehold is called Fire River because there is a river that runs east-west through your town, and at dawn and dusk, when the sun is reflecting on it, it looks like the entire river is on fire. You originally came together because you were hired by someone, a secret patron, to rescue the scepter that was the relic that symbolized who runs the local freehold. Changeling freeholds run on, for the most part, on a cyclical basis. They change rulers every 3 months with the seasons. So the spring court, there will be a representative from the spring court that is the monarch during the spring season. And then when summer comes, the changelings voluntarily give up their power to allow the new monarch to take place. And that is also, as most things that changelings do, a way of protecting them from the true fae, from the keepers, the people that took them. Because the idea of voluntarily giving up power and control is so alien to the true fae that it helps. The fact that they're doing this on a freehold basis month after month, season after season, helps hide their presence a bit from the true fae, who would otherwise just come out like a buffet at the idea of so many changelings all gathered in one place. So you rescued the relic from the winter monarch, who had been eaten by a terrible beast, and brought that back. In the course of that, unfortunately, you indebted yourself to a woman who was a merchant at one of the local goblin markets. And cohort 2's session was basically paying off that debt. You went and recovered a locket from a place in the hedge called the Black Orchard. And this locket had been captured by some creatures known as carrion crows, which are basically 8-foot tall, deadly giant ravens. And they have kind of a pestilence effect. They settled in this hollow, this little place in the hedge, which is the area between the mundane world and Arcadia, which is the land of the true fae. A hollow is a little area that's basically, changelings have exerted their will over it and firmed it up and made it into a little safe zone. And they can be anything from just a little hidey hole that maybe one one changeling use this as a safe zone to go to buildings, or in this case, it's an entire little glade that had been used to propagate and raise goblin fruit, which are cool little magical fruits and plants and that kind of thing that grow in the hedge that can, when eaten, will restore your glamour. And then some of them have some cool other effects too. Like there's one that can make you invisible for a while. There's one that can make sure that the next time you shoot someone with an arrow, it is extra potent or extra accurate, or that kind of thing. They're just general magic items that grow naturally in the hedge. So you went to this Black Orchard and you managed to get in and get this locket that this woman from the Goblin Market wanted and return it to her, and you paid off your debt to her in that way. But so you paid off your debt in that way. So you now have a person in the Goblin Market that you have dealt positively with, might be a resource in the future. Her name is Melusine, and you can go back to the Goblin Market at any point if you want to interact with her again. What is happening this evening? You guys are all hanging out at you have a little safe house. It's kind of a cruddy little apartment in not a real great area of town. You can decide whether you live there full time or whether it's a place you just come from wherever your apartment or your house or that kind of thing is when you want to hang out with your motley. But for some reason, you're all here this evening chilling out, and there's a knock at the door. Would anyone like to answer it?
I go straight for the door. I just storm over, and we just got done with this job and I'm tired, and it's like, what next? Just open the door.
Okay, you open the door and there is a woman standing on the other side of it. Her skin is the kind of gold yellow of well finished pine. Her hair is long and falls down around her shoulders in kind of leaf green tresses. And the most interesting thing is the first time you breathe in when you open the door, you know that smell like on summer evenings when you're out in the woods a little bit and there's a little bit of moisture in the air and it smells like loam and growing things and calm? The air around her just exudes that kind of a scent. Let's see. Frankie, you would recognize her mostly as she's the Spring Queen. Her name's Rosamond. She's the current monarch of the Freehold. Some of you may have closer interactions with her. Heather Ash is actually a elemental woodborn, and Rosamond is also an elemental woodborn. So you guys have that in common, although you have very different viewpoints on life. She's spring and you're winter. So very different that way, but you've kind of got a little bit of kind of like kinship. You've been through some of the same things in your past, at least it's shaped you in some of the same ways. And Hallie, Sky is a member of the Spring Court. So this is your monarch. This is the person that currently embodies your court. So you guys have kind of a more special connection maybe than Rosamond has established with other members of the Freehold and other members of your motley. And she kind of looks at you like, oh, you're
I'm Frankie, and
Frankie, right, that's right.
I know who you are ish, right? Yes. Name again. What is your name?
Rosamond Blackthorn. Yes.
Spring Court.
Yes, I am the monarch of desire. Yes.
Just come in.
Oh, and well, thank you.
And I don't remember whose character was like the Spring Court character. Okay, I see Ash's name in here. Oh, okay. Everybody's okay. I got it. Caught up now.
Yeah.
Oh, Sky, I was hoping you'd be here this evening. They told me this might be a good place to track you and your She kind of looks around, a little bit on the snooty side, but like she's not trying to really push it in your face. You're motley. We'll just go with that. You're motley. I I have a favor to ask. Well, really, it's more of a business proposition.
What do you need?
Well, I understand that you and your motley most recently were the most recent visitors to a location known as, well, it's now known as the Black Orchard. Uh, Word is in the goblin markets that you went there on a job and returned safely.
Yeah.
Delightful. Delightful. As you know, the Black Orchard, it's been, well, years now that we've basically given up on it. Those pesky birds that have chosen to make their home there, it seems like just their presence there, nesting there, is turned what used to be a thriving farm into, well, it's icky. I don't. Yes. And you guys would know from when you went to visit it, basically everything, just like all the plants and everything, seems shrunken and malformed. You found a couple of goblin fruit, but it should be like walking into a farmer's market, and it was just really, really bad. It's like
So are they normal birds there, or are they other windwing?
Oh, they were neither. They were
Okay.
carrying crows.
Oh, the carrying crows, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so you guys basically climbed up a really tall tree, got up to the top of the nest, found the locket in there, and managed to hightail it out of there as the birds were coming down on you. So you didn't actually have to fight with them, but you definitely saw them. Their nest was big enough that your ogre Rip, he could lay down in it with his arms stretched out and not touch both sides. You could have a little party in there. It's actually, the nest was probably about as big as your front room is in your apartment.
So there was mention that there was pestilence.
Yes, the carrion crows seem to bring that with them.
Okay.
So I've been working as monarch of the freehold. I have been working on. I know that we change reigns as must be every season, but I want to leave a mark. I want to leave a legacy behind after my reign. And I've decided that what I would really love is to be able to reclaim the Black Orchard for the freehold. It wouldn't it be wonderful to have access to such a abundant source of goblin fruits, and just think about how that could benefit, just the sheer fact that it was growing again would inherently benefit everyone in the freehold, just in the same way that a big influx of money can benefit everyone in a community. And I would like to hire you all to redeem the Black Orchard. You'll have to get rid of the birds, and then once you've done that, then my research indicates that the corruption should start to slowly fade. At least it won't get any worse. And this, and she pulls out a necklace, and there's a vial on it that's about this big, probably holds about 2 ounces of liquid, and it is glowing emerald green. This, if you pour this in the well, it should, once the birds are gone, it should speed up the recovery process so that we'll be able to begin harvesting and growing goblin fruit there again in a matter of weeks, perhaps even this growing season, to be harvested in the autumn after the summer. And I can't think of a better legacy to leave behind after my reign than to have something have such a positive impact on our entire area. Don't you agree?
What you're saying is you want us to kill something or a few somethings.
Oh, well, I mean,
I'm
if
in.
that's how you need to get rid of them, I really don't care how the birds are gotten rid of, but their presence just can't be allowed to continue to corrupt the area.
Yeah, we'll take care of them. Somebody else take this vial thing, right? Yes. Somebody else will be responsible for that.
I'll
She
take
kind
any opportunity to chase out fey magic from a land.
delightful, delightful. Um, eh, she kind of holds the vial out, kind of skyward, being so sky is the
I
member
take
of
the
her.
vial.
Oh, well, I
I'll take that.
well, I certainly understand that as kindred spirits, that certainly that would be lovely. You'd be a very good protector for such a precious item. I It would be very, very difficult to remake the serum that's in there. So please, please be very, very careful with it.
What is in it?
It's essentially, well, let's just call it the essence of spring. I mean, it's enough to renew and begin regrowing the area around the Black Orchard.
Got to put it in the well.
Yes, it needs to be poured into the well there.
Understood. I'm in it for the plants.
Yes, 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 yes. Can you imagine how delightful it will be to have that area where all of the plants have have been so impacted for so many years now, and to have them growing fresh and green again? That would just be so delightful, don't you think?
I do. I can't wait to see what grows.
Oh, I have heard, and goodness knows, the actual time that the Black Orchard was running was before my time, before I emerged from Arcadia, but before I returned. But I've heard and I've done research, and the extent of what was able to be harvested in that area was just absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to see it. I think it would be such a boon to the entire area, to changelings just as a whole. I'm so excited.
You don't need to convince me. You've already won in my eyes.
Oh, I can't tell you how much that means to me. Thank you.
You said you did research.
Yes.
Do you know where or why those crows specifically began to nest, and who might have sent them?
I don't. From what I've been able to tell, they normally nest in whatever the tallest tree is in the area that they've decided to settle upon. So, being so that area had been cleared out, the hedge had been kind of pushed back, and some tall trees had been propagated, it's possible that that was enough in and of itself to encourage them to take up nesting there. But I wasn't able to find anything about anyone sending them or that sort of thing. If it had been a malevolent entity who had attacked our freehold in that way, I'm certain that past summer courtiers would have long since taken care of that. But they don't really bother themselves with hobgoblin animals.
Do they normally carry pestilence?
I actually have never heard of carrion crows before this, or heard of them existing in any other area. Everything that I've been able to find about them was based on changeling here in the area's experience with these particular ones who've taken up residency here.
I see.
Sky, have you heard anything about carrion crows existing in any other location?
I don't know. Would I have?
No, you
No?
would
Okay.
not have. In fact, the birds in the hedge in this area really, really don't like those things at all. Because the carrion crows will attack and eat pretty much anything that they can find, which means that in the general area around the Black Orchard, you would know you actually had tried to talk to some birds to get information and reconnaissance when you were going and recovering the locket, and you had to travel significantly outside of that hollow in order to find a bird or a bird-like creature in the hedge that was anywhere near, because the carrion crows literally pick them out of the sky to eat them.
Got it. I was wondering about maybe being able to speak with them. Okay. Yeah, I'm not really aware. I haven't seen them anywhere else.
I figured you might have a unique perspective, being so you have that connection. I firmly believe that everyone should be lauded and appreciated for their unique and individual talents. Was there any other questions that you might have of me?
Is there anything that we should know from your research besides that there are these pestilent crows?
Well, they appeared, it seems like about 24 years ago, which is unusual because, from what I understand, it's pretty rare for ravens to live that long, or crows, corvids of any sort, to live that long in the wild. Not unheard of, but unusual. Um, that's about it. They drove out the original farmers who were there, and the rulers of the freehold at that time just felt that it was every attempt that they'd made to chase the birds away or drive them off, the birds just flew away and then came back. So they finally just gave up on it and began harvesting out of created another hollow to harvest. But it just wasn't as fertile or fruitful as this one. This one had so many years of attention and glamour invested into it that I just really can't help but believe that it would be such a boon to be able to recover it.
Of course. Has there been any, besides the blight on the land, has there been any notice from sickness that anyone going near it, such as either breathing in the air or touching the ground? Jess?
You are muted, Jess.
Sorry about that. Better?
Yep.
So if you spend a long amount of time there, it's draining. I haven't heard of anyone getting sick because everyone's been smart enough to leave once they start feeling weak. But it essentially, when you spend a great deal of time there, it saps your glamour, your magical wherewithal, and that unfortunately can be a problem because if you're trying to engage in a long-term battle against things that are not being sapped, then eventually you find out that your batteries have run out and theirs are still unfortunately full. But no disease, no like no plagues or anything like that. No, we don't have to worry about those.
For now. All right. Thank you, Your Majesty.
Of course. Please call me Rosamond.
Of course, Rosamond.
Are they always this quiet? Yes, I think they are. Yes.
It's like gathering weapons. Like anything we have, I don't really know what our weapon lists look like, but I'm like,
I'm studying that vial you gave me.
Okay.
My character's just like getting the med pack and just like has
Delightful.
Come on.
This is wonderful.
I don't tend to say a lot, but I'm just curious if I'm sticking my neck out for altruism. That's all fine and dandy, but a little bit of extrinsic motivation is always helpful. What's in it for us?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. I almost forgot. I was so excited about the mission. I'm prepared to offer you 5%. 5% of all of the goblin fruits that are harvested to be tithed to you on a seasonal basis, to be split among your motley as you see fit. So, as long as the Black Orchard stays strong and healthy and profitable, then your motley will also profit.
Okay, I'm good with that. What do you guys think?
I'm good with that. Yeah, I'll kill some things for that.
well, if you're going, I suppose
I'm already in.
Delightful. Oh, this is so wonderful. Heather, Ash, you had said that you were going to examine the vial. We're going to do our first roll now. So the system for rolling dice and making challenges in the world of darkness is a pretty simple one. You're going to use a 10-sided die, and for most rolls, I'm going to give you 2 stats. You'll find those on your character sheet on the back page. Oh, nope, sorry, on the front page. So quite often they will be an attribute and a skill. Sometimes they'll be 2 skills or an attribute and one of the traits that are on the top of the second page, but usually it's 2 numbers. What you're going to do is you're going to pick your scores. So, for example, in this case, Ash, I'm going to ask you to roll a intelligence plus. Let's do. Would you like to look at it in terms of physical manifestation, or would you like to look at it in terms of perhaps supernatural kind of connection or that kind of thing, because it is glowing very brightly? So you let me know which kind of focus you want to do, and that'll determine which skill we're going to use for that.
I'll do the supernatural.
Okay, so what you're going to use then is your intelligence plus your occult. If you have zeros in any of them, you can still do the roll. But there is a penalty for it. We call that an unskilled roll. And being so we're using mental, the penalty for unskilled mental is -3. For physical and social things, it's just a -1. But being so mental stuff is so focused on learning things, if you don't have any dots in that, you're at a -3. So what would your total pool be for intelligence plus occult?
I have 4 in intelligence and 1 in occult.
Oh, fantastic. So you have a dice pool of 5. What you're going to do then is roll 5 10-sided dice, and any 8, 9, or 10 that you receive is going to be a success. 10s are special. Not only do they count as a success, but they also are subject to what we call the 10 again rule. And that means that they count as a success, but you also get to re-roll them and see if you can get another success. And that will continue as long as you continue to re-roll 10, continue to manifest 10s. They may show up as zeros on your die.
So I'm using a dice roller.
Oh,
I have
easy.
2 10s, a 9, and an 8.
Fantastic. Okay, so you have 4 successes, and then you're going to roll those 2 dice. So roll a dice pool of 2.
So okay.
Because she's re-rolling the 10s.
Because she's re-rolling the 10.
I got 2 9s.
2 9. Okay, so you have 4 successes from your original, your 10, your 10, your 9, and your 8. And then you got you re-rolled your 10s for the 10 again, and you got 2 more successes because you got 2 9s. So that's a total of 6 successes. You did very, very well. So you can tell in looking at this that there is definitely spring court magic going on in this vial. This is high power spring court regeneration, renovation, hedge related magic. And it looks like it probably directly relates to Rosamond as well, which makes sense because she's the spring monarch right now and she's the one who made it. So
it's like her essence.
Like her essence.
So I was wondering, to prepare us, since while I trust Rosalind has done her research, we are going into the fray, is with my medicine and science, and maybe even occult, I'm not sure because I have paper. If I could be, I guess, mentally thinking about what I could help to prepare my party when it comes to this draining nature.
Oh, very, very clever. So the draining nature affects one of your attributes called your glamour. And that is essentially, if you've played MMOs, it's your mana. It's what fuels your supernatural powers. You can spend it for a couple of different things. There's, I think I gave you a note about glamour. Yes, you can spend it to activate contracts, which are your supernatural powers. You'll find those on the bottom half of your second page of your character sheet. You can also use it to activate some seeming and blessings. You're all going to want to take a quick peek, and I should have said this right from the start. I'm sorry, I got a little scrambled. Midway on your first page of your character sheet, you'll find a seeming blessing, a seeming curse, and a kith talent. What those are unique skills or supernatural abilities because of the seeming and kith that you belong to. So a beast will be different than an elemental, will be different than a ferris. So you're going to want to take a look at those, because those are things that you can do uniquely that the other characters in the group will not be able to do. And sometimes those require glamour to fuel them. And then also you can use it to bolster your mask, which is changelings have their true appearance, which is their mien, and that is, for example, Sky's wings, gray, the fact that you have pallid gray skin and kind of like dour features, the fact that Rip is literally has trouble fitting through doorways. Humans don't see that. Humans see your mask, which is basically a humanoid version of you. So they would still see Rip as a huge guy, but they wouldn't see him as, bigger than Andre the Giant kind of guy. They would see that Sky has a very light step and looks like they're almost floating when they walk, but they wouldn't see her wings, and they wouldn't actually see her off the ground. So you can use a point of glamour to make even other fey creatures see you as human, so you can make them see your mask rather than your mane. And then also you can use it to do the opposite. You can use it to drop your mask to humans so that they see you as you actually are. And that's that can make them go a little bit crazy. So it's something that in general nice society of changelings discourage doing that, because it freaks the mundanes. So glamour can be gotten back through a couple of different means. You can get it by harvesting humans. Harvesting is not really the right word. We call it harvesting. You don't take away their emotions. You're basically just kind of feeding off the fact that their emotions are very high. Many courts prefer, like Summer Court often prefer to hang around people who are angry all the time or who are going to get into brawls, because they like the flavor of that anger-based glamour. Spring Court,
Bravery.
well, they do their thing. Autumn Court quite often like to feed on or to perpetuate paranoia and scaredness and that kind of thing. And Autumn Spring, and yeah, dark and spooky, yeah. And Winter Court tend to, it's the court of sorrow and loss, and so quite often they will be associating with humans that are going through a lot, and they can actually help them get through things, but they're getting a benefit from it as well. Another way that you can get glamour back is by eating goblin fruit. Any goblin fruit that you find in the hedge or barter for and consume will give you back a point of glamour. So your question, I'm sorry, I went long and left. You know that Rosamund said that basically what happens is you start losing glamour over time. So a couple different ways that you could kind of prep for that. You could, so you can't stock up over your pool. So you guys are all full of glamour right now. So, actually, no. That is
what is it like it says glamour 5 out of 10?
Yep, I was actually just going to correct myself, because you guys are not full up. You start a changeling character with half of your glamour pool full. So you have 5 glamour points out of a pool of 10. So you could do things beforehand to bolster that glamour up so that you would, be going in fully stocked. Or you could obtain some goblin fruit so that you could eat when you drop glamour, or if it starts to drop, so you go in kind of bolstered. You go in kind of with a med pack. So those are things that your character would know that you could do to increase or regain glamour, and that seems to be from Rosamund's explanation, that seems to be the main corruption or weakening effect that this area has on people. On plants, it shrinks them up and withers them and that kind of thing. But those are the main things that you might want to be concerned about for your party.
Okay. I guess so. Side note, Ash mentioned that she's connected to plants or has some attunement to it.
Yes, I am very enthusiastic about plants. I'm a botanist, and I've been bartering my memories as a human for more information about the plants of the Fae.
Okay, so because we are living in a magical world, you're not actually, you don't have body parts, or you don't have any like type of plants living inside of you, right?
Ooh, do I?
Well, so your character is a woodblood. So all changelings have some sort of, they're all humanoid, but they have some sort of thing that it manifests as their kith and their seeming. So woodbloods are literally quite often have skin, like Rosamund, her skin is literally made out of pine. Her hair is literally growing. If you cut her, she would have sap. Heather, I'm gonna leave that up to you because Ash is your character to decide how that manifests for you and how strongly it manifests. Many, so changelings have something called a mantle. I didn't get into this in the super short summary. It basically is how closely attuned they are to their court. So your character as a winter woodblood might have it might be manifesting more things like holly, or trees that survive even during the winter, or that kind of thing. Whereas Rosamund's might manifest as a spring quarter, might manifest more as like flowering plants and that kind of thing. So I'll let you decide how you want to describe that.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I like the idea of holly, and kind of almost as if I'm turning into a plant myself.
Very, very viable as
Yes. A Christmas
10
tree.
10 out of 10 grays, they are thinking, oh well, you're probably gonna die first. If we're going to a place where plants are blighted, this is, oh joy. All right.
But it's okay because we're going to rejuvenate them.
Yes, Ash, we will rejuvenate them.
you look concerned. Your name is Gray?
I am Gray.
Uh,
I'm the thing that keeps our party alive. That is
Oh.
my job, that is my duty, and I'm here to make sure that everybody here comes back. My problem or my concern is one, we need to do this quick. First, would there be a way for us to get a sufficient amount of goblin berries to
Oh.
give us a boost in our glamour, as the fact is these lands are going to drain us. We don't know how quickly. We don't know how long it is going to take us to get this vial to the well. I assume that there have been much smarter, stronger individuals who have tried this before or tried to fix this problem and have not been able to. So,
Not for quite some time. It's kind of become a lost cause in the Freehold, which is why I thought it was perfect, honestly, because that we get smarter, and each generation of us can learn from the things that came in the past. But you do have a very good point. I tell you what, I don't have any hedge fruit on me at the moment, but I do have some. Why don't I meet you in at the gateway that is closest to the Black Orchard, and she'll describe a place that's it's on the edge of town. It's near where an old dairy farm used to be before it burned down. There's a big one of those really tall gates that with the sign hanging over it like a ranch and that kind of thing. That gateway right there is actually a gateway that goes into the hedge, and the trod, which is a safer path that goes through the hedge, will take you there eventually. It's about a half an hour walk once you get into the hedge, but I can meet you at the gateway with well, whatever my current supply is. I'll have to check my stores at home, and you can take those with you and use them as we'll just call it a payment for your effort. And then if you manage to chase away the birds and rejuvenate the well, then the tithing will come into place as the goblin fruit come into season. Does that seem fair?
For now, the second thing I need to know is we need something. I worry for Ash's safety. Her physical her physicality is
Oh.
land. And
Well, I suppose you'll just have to be quick then.
We can be quick. We got this.
We could totally be quick.
of course, Your Majesty.
I'm just handing out hockey sticks. I go up to Rip and I'm like, do you even need a hockey stick? You look strong enough.
My character kind of looks. So how much of your body is showing of plant ash?
I'm like kind of like poison ivy, if you will.
Ooh.
Okay. My character would kind of be looking for like sort of a cloak and just quietly be telling you might want to keep your foliage to yourself. Ash. I don't know if this is airborne or contact.
Rosamund looks over at Alex and says, "You're going to go with them, right? I mean, you're obviously you're draconic. You're obviously a good fighter."
I'm going to be going with them.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm certain they won't have any
And
problems then.
Ash is okay.
Delightful. So, time is wasting. I will, if we're all in agreement. So what I would like to do is for you to all swear a pledge with me to cement in the terms of our agreement. And you guys would know that this is a traditional thing that changelings do. They are they're promises, that two-part promises that are made and sealed by the weird, which is the force behind glamour. The weird is the unmanifested fey magic in the world, and you become stronger in your weird as you become more experienced as a changeling. True fey have an insane level of weird. If your weird gets high enough up, you can actually convert into a true fey. So, and the weird is the power that seals the deal on these pledges. And pledges are pretty cool because not only do they keep you locked into a particular promise, and if you break it, bad things happen, and that is defined by the terms of the pledge. So you might say something like, I promise for the next 24 hours I will stand over your sleeping form and no harm will come to you while your eyes are closed, else my strength be weakened. And if you pledge that deal with someone and seal it with weird, then if you follow through with your pledge, you get some sort of benefit. Like you might get a bonus to your wits, so that you can keep a better eye on things during the time period that you're guarding. But if you break it, then you might gain for the next 6 months, you might gain a weakness to your strength, or depending upon whatever the term of the pledge is. And there's a whole system in Changeling for creating those pledges. We're not going to get into that because it's just way too complex for a one-shot game. But basically what she's asking you to do is pledge that you guys will make your best effort to go and get the birds away from, by whatever means, the Black Orchard, and you will pour the vial into the well. And in exchange for that, she will give you a small amount of hedge fruit to start off with. And if you are successful, you will receive 5% of the goblin fruit harvested out of there in perpetuity. I always misspell that. Forever until you die. So that's the deal that she wants to make with you guys. If there's any other agreements that you want to throw in there or that kind of thing, just let me know, and then we'll seal the deal, and then you guys can go on.
Does this have anything to do with I can see on Frankie's sheet that there's something in the seeming curse about activating contracts during
Okay,
daylight?
So your contracts they're on the bottom half of your second page, and they're basically, they would be what, if you were playing D&D Wizards, they're your spells. So
okay.
those are contracts. Pledges are something different. Pledges are like magical promises.
Got it. Okay.
I can understand the confusion though, because they're very similar words in mundane reality.
Okay, wrote it down. Got it.
Fantastic. Okay, so barring any other concerns, you guys make this deal, and she takes her leave and agrees to meet you in a half an hour at the location that you described. And you guys know that you'll be able to get there, even if you were walking, you'd be able to get there in a half an hour or so. So would anybody like to add anything or change anything before we move forward?
I guess she's going to be giving us some type of glamour boost. Is there anything like health potions or what have you for us?
There's really not, at least she doesn't have anything like that available.
Okay.
It's not items that that heal your physical body are not as common in Changeling as they are in, say, D&D, where everybody's carrying around a cure light wounds health potion or that kind of thing. The healing system, the healing system that we described in the short summary is a very, very simplified version of the actual damage and healing system from Changeling, from all the World of Darkness games. It's super complex, and it would take basically, like, I could probably explain it to you guys all in a half an hour or so, but we're going to use a really simplified version of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
All right, so believe in that and hope to God no one gets boo-boos. All right, cool, go team. All right, I had to make the complicated character. All right, and let us roll out.
Okay, so half an hour later, she is waiting at the gates. It looks like a burned out dairy farm. The driveway goes through the gate and on, and you can see some burned out buildings, quarter mile down the road, down the long country driveway and that kind of thing. But she's just waiting, sitting on the slat fence, kind of leaning up against the gate. She's got a little backpack that's got a little basket that's got what looks like some really, really interesting, like it's what looks like a pear, except it's kind of pink colored. And there's stuff that looks like a bunch of grapes, but they're brown rather than like green or purple and that kind of thing. And she just beams when you guys start showing up. Oh, you came. I'm so happy. I was a little afraid you might not.
We said we'd come. We're here. We're here.
Well, wonderful. I'm so excited. This is for you. She hands the basket to Great. Hedge fruit's kind of weird. How many you can carry is not determined by how big they are. They're kind of draining to your, not draining, but they're attacks on your supernatural energy. So you're limited in how many you can carry based on your supernatural energy. And as starting changelings, you guys can only carry 3 apiece. The basket has like 12 of them in there. So she's obviously a much stronger changeling, a much more experienced changeling than you guys are. Probably not really used to seeing people. It's like seeing goblin fruit in this large of a quantity in one place before. It's kind of like somebody opening up a cornucopia for you. So here's some, how would you, and she looks at Gray, how would you like these distributed?
All right. So I guess so when it comes to glamour, we all have different types. We all have glamour, but glamour works like mana. So does that mean people who are more magical versus like people who are more physical fighters? That's
No, in Changeling, so you unless you spend like experience points into it or that kind of thing, you start out with 5 out of a pool of 10. So you
Okay.
guys all have 5 out of a pool of 10.
okay. And it does not matter the type of changeling we are. We all need glamour for our various things. All right. If there's 12, there's 6 of us, then we each get 2.
Oh, delightful. That makes it easy. And she hands them out. These are all just, I'm sorry, I didn't have much in the way of fancy things in my stores. These will all just give you a little bit of extra oomph, but they don't really have any extra benefits or that sort of thing. I hope that's okay.
It is, as you said, we will do this quickly. Thank you.
Delightful. Delightful. I think I'm just gonna wait here for a while. It's lovely here. The birds are singing, the breeze is delightful. I think I'm just gonna wait here for a little bit, just in case you were to come out and needed a little extra hand or something. I would be here. Shall I activate the gateway for you? Just so you don't have to expend any of your energy to do it?
That'd be nice.
So she reaches forward, she places one hand on the post, and she speaks quietly, but her voice carries strongly. And she says, "In the name of the freehold of the Fire River, I, Rosamond Blackthorn, Queen of Desire, order you to open." And as you watch, as she's speaking, you get that whole like Wayne's World kind of waviness going through the gateway, and the place that you could see through before, where you could see the destroyed buildings and stuff. When you're looking through the gateway, that doesn't exist anymore. You see a lush, verdant. Have you guys ever experienced blackberry brambles? I know we have them here in the Pacific Northwest, where you can literally get acres of it. It's like kudzu. Just thick vines going every different direction. And there's a pathway that leads like straight from this gateway forward, but you can tell on both sides and ahead of you beyond the pathway, there's just thick brambles, huge thorns on it. And in places where you're not really looking at any given time, you kind of get the feeling that like the vines are kind of moving, shifting. You would know that they do that, and that's why you stay on the trods as much as you can, because the trods are a little bit safer, more like solid pathway. But you know that if you leave the trod and turn away so you can't see the trod anymore, you may not be able to find it when you get back, even if you're only one step off the trod. So it's a dangerous territory, and there's a lot of really creepy things that live in the hedge. There's hobgoblins, which are kind of, generally speaking, humanoid creatures who live their entire lives in this chaotic briar bramble. But there's predators, there's bizarre things that hunt by guile, there's things that will just rip your arms off and leave you on the trod. It's a dangerous place, so there's a reason why people don't live in the hollow full time for the most part. So she smiles and she says, "Ta-da!"
Hey, Rip, I need you to do me something. Do me a favor, okay? Keep your eye forward, but I want you to like reach over. You're really strong, okay? And I just want you to rip off some of these like, thorny vines for me. I just feel like, if I could just, and maybe you're like, ugh. Could you do that for me?
Right. Let's get to it then. And he just kind of rips off big chunks of almost like a bat of bramble.
Oh,
Hands you one.
that's he's very strong.
Thank you. And I just kind of pull it taut and, yep, this is good. Thank you, Rip.
Anytime.
Oh, then. Good luck.
Let's get to it.
And so, as you all step through the gateway, assuming you all step through the gateway,
Oh, right on through.
okay. As you step through the gateway, when you turn to look back, as long as you keep sight, like if you turn and look back as you're going through, you can still see out into the mundane world. However, the minute you take your eyes off that gateway and look forward, when you turn around and look, there's a wooden post system like the gate that you went through, but when you look through, there's nothing but brambles there on the way back. And you would know that in order to reopen a gateway, you have to refind it, and then you have to again spend glamour to open it back up again.
Well, I was going, since you said we have to refind it, Beth, are you going to use those vines right now?
I was going to use them when we needed them. Do you have a better idea?
If Rip doesn't mind ripping some more down, I think tying it to the post or making a mark to help us. Or if we have another way. Or Ash, do you have a better way of doing this?
Question, is this a good time to use, or would it be a good time to use Pathfinder?
Oh yes, clever. Let me pull up your character sheet. So did I drop it on the floor?
But that's just to find the gateway going back, correct?
Let me take a look at it real quick. Locate hollows, trods, paths to and from Arcadia, and other details of the hedge nearby. So the Black Orchard is a hollow. It's a corrupted hollow, but it is a hollow. You could use Pathfinder to find your way to the Black Orchard, especially being so you've been there before. I'm going to give you a bonus to your roll for that because you're familiar with that area. You've done this once before. So what you're going to do, and this will be a good excuse for us to look at contracts. So everybody go to like the second page of your character sheet. Ash, yours is Pathfinder. So you've got the name of the item. You've got a basic description of what it does. The cost. So in this case, activating it costs 1 glamour. Your dice pool. So what you'll be rolling to attempt to get at least 1 success to activate it. The action. So it's an instant action. It basically is your one action that you can do this round. And then there's a catch. Now catches are kind of non-intuitive. What they are is a shortcut. If you can complete the catch, you don't have to spend the glamour to activate the contract. So in this case, Ash's catch is must shed a drop of blood from plucking a thorn from the hedge in the last day. That's something that she can do now, and before she activates her contract, so therefore it's fulfilled. This is a really easy way to do it. It's a little bit more difficult to do that one if you're like in the mundane world. So, and then for each success, learn 1 pertinent fact about the local hedge within the line of sight. So we'll say, I'm going to say you need to get a total of 5 successes to find your way to the hollow that you're looking for the Black Orchard. That means you can roll more than 1 attempt on your contract, so you can do it once. If you get 3 successes, you can save those and spend another turn doing it. So what you're going to roll is your intelligence plus weird, and then I'm going to give you a +1 bonus because you've already been to the Black Orchard before. So however many dice you have in your pool for intelligence plus weird, then add 1 more die to that, and then roll that and tell me how many successes you got.
Okay. Oh boy. boy. That's a 0.
That's a 0. Okay. So Ash, how does that play out to you? You're starting to do did you pluck your finger on one of the
Yes,
thorns?
I did. I walked
Yeah.
over to one and plucked my finger.
Very Sleeping Beauty-ish.
Very Sleeping Beauty-ish.
And then how does it feel? How does it look? How do you respond when you realize you don't have any particular clue?
I'm in shock. I should know this. But side note, speaks to my character not remembering.
Oh man, I thought I knew where it was, but I got so distracted. There was some thimblethorn right around this corner here, and I just so
Sorry, guys.
would anyone else like to do anything in the meantime?
I'll just go up with one of the thorn ropes. I'm forgetting the actual word for this.
Vine?
And the vine. Thank you. Yes, the vine. And I'm gonna take one of them. I don't know how many Rip and I grabbed, but I'm just gonna take one and like tie it around something.
Like as a marker, kind of.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty much exactly what Grace said to do.
Look at that, Gray. They're listening to you already.
My character is pleased that they understand the fact that we don't want to die today. Congratulations.
Alex, Rip, Sky, any of you guys going to do anything before Ash takes another whack at this?
How long do action contracts last? Like it looks like my terrible brute. Does that last for a specific action?
Okay, is that Rip? Let's see.
Yeah, it enhances strength, but it looks like it's just for the specific.
Might of the Terrible Brute. Add dots to strength for this action equal to number of successes rolled. So the contracts can last anywhere from just like this one thing you're trying to do to an ongoing time period, but usually it'll say in the description. So in this case, you would do that right before you did something that you were trying to be really, really strong about.
Could I use Mindfinder similar to how Ash is trying to?
That is a very clever idea. So you have actually seen these birds before. You guys didn't fight them or anything like that. You got the heck out of Dodge when they started showing up, as was very clever. So you could, I will allow you to use that contract to attempt to track down what direction. Now, it will not tell you exactly how to get there, but it will tell you basically what direction it is, and and that's an ongoing thing. So it's kind of like a sonar, kind of like beep beep beep. So in this case, you are going to take a look at your sheet. You do not have a lock of hair from the target. Unfortunately, you did not keep a feather from the birds. You are going to look at your stats and pull up your survival plus weird, and we're gonna subtract the carrion crow's wits, which I'm gonna look up real quick here. And so what is your pool? They have a wits of 2. So what is your survival plus weird?
3.
3? Okay. So you are going to have a 1 die pool that you can roll. Let's see, is there anything else here that applies in that? If there was some sort of other mitigating factor that might give you a bonus and that kind of thing. So just go ahead and roll your 1 die and see how that goes.
Okay. 5.
Got a 5? Okay. So you are down 1 glamour because you weren't able to activate the catch. But there's nothing that says that next turn you can't try that again. Anybody else want to try anything?
I don't have anything that can help right now.
Okay. Fantastic. So, Ash, did you want to try and activate your contract again?
I absolutely do.
Yay!
So do I walk over to the hedge again and prick my other finger to match?
You don't need to, because the catch says must shed a drop of blood from plucking a thorn from the hedge in the last day. So you've already done that within the last day. You certainly can. You want to pluck prick all of your fingers on the hedges. I'm definitely going to let you do that. But
Yes, I'm determined. I'm plucking again.
okay.
Just for extra luck. Let me see if I can get these memories back. So roll.
Ash, be careful not to hurt yourself.
Okay.
I'm
So
getting out like little like pieces of fabric to like.
Gray's like, God dang it, we need a band-aids again.
I even got like the sparkly like flower ones. Like there you go.
Nice.
Pretty.
Okay, so Ash, what was your dice pool? Your dice pool is your intelligence plus your weird plus 1.
Yes, so that's a 6. So rolling now. I got 3.
3. Fantastic. Okay, so that is enough. That is a good start. Ash starts. She's like, oh yeah, okay. So I remember that tree. It's this way. It's this way. Yeah, definitely this way. And are you guys gonna follow her?
I just start running for it.
Oh, Ash is like, I'm not even gonna say it.
I'm in there.
Okay, so she is chucking off down. I assume you're staying on the trod.
Yes.
Okay, so she goes trucking off down the trod. What do the rest of you guys do?
Come on, guys. We need to follow her. And I dig like one of the. I was able to bring like a hockey stick with, right? I feel like she totally would. Okay. So she like takes one of the hockey sticks and like digs it into the ground behind to like leave a trail in the dirt. So I'm like, come on.
I'm literally military moding like just my med pack, and I'm just like just being like, God damn it, why? Ash! Stay with the group.
So you go, Ash. You go like at a full out sprint for maybe 10 minutes or so before you start being like, okay, maybe not looking as familiar all of a sudden. You kind of come to a place where the trod splits in two, and you're like, left, right. So you can attempt to activate the contract again if you'd like. Anybody else can do other things if they'd like.
I'm gonna try give another crack at mind finder. Can I do that?
Oh, of course.
Burned through another glamour. Let's give it a shot. 10. Haha.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so on your 10, you get the 10 again, so you get to roll it again to see if you get another.
Okay. 5s are with me. Another
Okay,
5.
but that's okay. You got it activated. You know that wherever these birds are, it's generally like at about 45-degree angle to the right. Now that doesn't exactly match the way that the trod goes. The trod's more like at a like T-stop kind of thing, but you definitely are like pinging to the right.
So I think I kind of just stare off, kind of looking around, taking things in, and then I just kind of gesture to the group. I think I've got a direction this way. Not sure what it is, but this is where we need to go.
Okay.
Sounds good. Digging in from behind into the dirt.
By the way, just so I know, it says I can add weird dots. We're not using weird dots, right?
So you have one weird. So you can add 1 dot.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what you're adding it to, but
it's a seeming blessing that I can spend 1 glamour to get a 1 glamour to add a weird dot to the dodge total. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure. So like we're dodging. Okay.
If you're dodging, yep, you can spend a glamour to add your 1 point of weird. If you had more weird, if you were a more experienced changeling, you could add more, but at least that gives you a 1 point bonus if you're doing that.
Yeah, Yeah, to the total. Yeah, total to the rest of the scene.
for the rest of the scene. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty very specific, but longer reaching.
Okay.
So I'm gonna now have you guys, as you're still standing in this crossroads, I'm gonna have you do a perception test. And what that is a wits plus oh god, my brain just completely died. I'm sorry. Perception. For goodness sakes. Wow, I feel really silly. This is something we do all the time, and my brain is just dying. I'll be right there with you guys. Oh, Jack, we're gonna give me a wits plus perception is wits plus intelligence. That's not what the actual skill is, but we're going to do that rather than pause the game while I look for a rule.
That's good.
So
All right.
just roll your wits as your and your intelligence as a pool, and tell me how many successes you get.
If I had 5, that would be 5 dice.
So in the blanks on the Vampire the Masquerade dice are going to be fails, just like.
I believe that the blanks are 10s, aren't they?
Would the 10 be like the double star
Oh.
thing?
Oh, I'm not really familiar with those.
Oh, maybe I'll just
Wow. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've never actually used those.
I will dig out my. I think I've got enough.
All right. I got 2 successes. So
Is that Gray?
Yeah, 10
Gray
and
got
9.
2. Okay.
1 for Sky.
Okay. I tell you what, well, let's do this just to make it really easy, because sometimes I can't tell. So just hold up how many, if you have 0, hold up a fist and hold up how many you got. Okay, fantastic. Ash, you hear a sound behind you guys. It sounds kind of familiar to you because it's a sound of like plant on dirt. Alex, you had a 3, right?
Mhm.
You spin around. All of your like draconic tactic-y kind of thing like kicks in, and you are like, oh, something behind me. You spin around and are immediately like on guard for what might be attacking you guys from behind. Everybody got at least 1, right? 2? Okay, fantastic. What you see is, as you're looking back the way that you came, the brambles are moving, which is not all that unusual. But Frankie, you can see that the trail that you left, that you've been dragging in the dirt, like about as far as you could throw a rock in the back path, there's a vine that's just kind of like reaching over and wiping it out. So your path is like, you've probably got 80, 90, even 100 feet behind you of that path. And you're sure that trod is the one you came in on, because you haven't seen any other branches until you got here. But it's like the hedge doesn't really want to make things easy for somebody to navigate it.
I'm gonna take my hockey stick, walk over, and try and smack whatever like branch or vine is reaching out. Like,
Sure. Yeah, no, you break right through it. I mean, it's the branch is like this big around. It's a little woody, but not as much as, more like a blackberry vine than a branch. You go right through it. It kind of flops around on the ground a little bit, and then just lies still like any plant would if you cut it off.
I pick it up and I'm like, look, now you're a weapon. See, that's what you get. And then I walk back towards everyone else.
Fantastic. Go ahead.
I was just saying it's a switch now.
It's a switch. Okay, so you're at the crossroads. Rip has suggested that he thinks that they're off to the right. Are you guys going to head that direction?
We might as well go, guys, but I don't think we're going to be able to find our way back. I mean, you saw what is going on.
Wait,
Don't worry. I'll try to remember.
Comforting. Just like shoulder tap.
I got you guys.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Very nice, very nice. Sky, one of the things that you would notice because of who you are is you can see the sky in places through this. It's difficult, like it's not really open. It's kind of like one of those places where like the trees grow up kind of around the road and you can see the sky through the branches, but it's not like open area. Just that's probably something that you would notice as much as or more so than anybody else. So are you guys gonna go to the right?
Boom, right
Fantastic.
through. We're
Okay.
just trucking on.
Fantastic. So you guys, Ash, as soon as you turn the corner here, you're like, oh yeah, I know, I knew all along.
All along.
I was
And
testing you.
And as you're walking towards the area that Ash and Rip are kind of directing you towards, you'll notice that the brambles themselves seem to get like a little bit darker colored and maybe a little bit more woody, not quite as like green and verdant. And it continues as you go along, and eventually a pathway, and it's really more like a deer track at this point. There's a pile of stones near it that kind of indicate where it goes off of the main trod. And as you peer through like that deer track down it, there's obviously like an opening, a clearing beyond the brambles that have kind of grown up. There's a couple buildings in there that are not in real great condition. They used to have like thatched roofs that have now fallen in. The stones are still there standing, but they're long. They've obviously been not maintained for decades. Would you like to go in?
I think we should check these out, you guys. What do you think?
It's off the trot.
But like there could be big sharp things in there.
Oh, and Rip, your radar is pointing right down that deer path.
This is the way, guys.
Rip says so. We gotta do it. This is the same path towards like the buildings or the structures.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like it looks like a deer track. It looks like what used to be maybe a small like driveway or entryway, but it's just kind of gotten gradually overgrown and overgrown. You've been through this way. You as once Rip points it out, you're all like, oh yeah, we were here just like a week ago, but the area that you cleared has mostly grown back over.
Are you sensing them, Rip? Like the crows?
Yes, I am. I really believe it's this way. It's not quite clear, but it's the only signal I'm getting.
Why don't we just... Do any of you have a way to make fire? Do we have a way to make fire? I mean, we're here. You sense them over there. They're just possibly like in these structures.
I mean,
I
I
just
can
make this easy.
Rip, I don't know, the trees in the area, kind of just grabs a tree branch and just rips a medium-sized one off and hands it to... Anybody make fire?
I'm draconic, so I would imagine.
Hands Alec the
Draconics
branch.
don't have like fire breath kind of thing. Let's see. I mean, if you guys, I have no problem with the idea of you guys having like a lighter or that kind of thing on you. That's just mundane gear, sure.
That's right, because this is
Especially
like a more
Frankie,
modern
right?
game, isn't it?
Right? Exactly.
I'm like, do we need to like start a fire with the brush?
No, Frankie, you got like a pack of smokes in your pocket, and
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm like,
Smoke them if you got them.
So
light one up, reach
You have
over,
them.
and kind of like
Got one
flick
right here.
the branch, lighting.
Yeah. It's fresh wood, so it's you're holding the lighter underneath it, and it's kind of smoldering, but it's fresh
Not
green
dry
wood.
enough.
It's not gonna grow.
Maybe
Or
you
it's
need to
not
blow
gonna
on it.
catch fire.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, you put it out.
Oh
Too
crap!
hard.
What if I just throw a cigarette on it?
Will you guys all roll me a perception? So roll me. We're gonna continue to fake it with intelligence plus weird because I can't remember the actual stat.
Okay. Oh, it's intelligence plus weird.
I'm sorry, intelligence plus wits.
Oh, wits. Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna
I did
look
not
it up
roll it
while
wrong
you
the
guys are
first time
doing
then.
that. There we go. 45, 46. I feel so silly. This is like one of the main things that you always roll in this game to notice things, and it's wits plus composure. Okay.
5 dice, but no dice.
5 dice, but no dice.
Hmm.
1. Okay. 2, 3. Okay. Fantastic.
Do it again.
So those of you who don't get any successes, you're still concentrating on what Frankie's doing with this branch and that kind of thing. Ash, you look through the kind of brambles that are through there, and you see at the center of the clearing there is a tree. Sky, you would recognize this as the tree that you guys climbed up with the big carrion crow nest in the top of it. And Greg, yeah, you know that as you're looking at these brambles, they're not going to hurt you as you try and go through them. They're some thorns and stuff, but you could easily, especially somebody like Rip, could easily push his way through the brambles without any problem and get you out into the orchard proper.
I can't get this thing to light. Do we want to just try to sneak in and do it another way?
I think that would be best. It would be less likely that we're going to, if there is anything in there besides possibly the crows, we don't want to make any more.
So how would you like to proceed?
I guess who's the stealthiest among us?
Probably is determined by how we roll.
It
Yeah.
says
I mean-
Rip creeps along the shadows, but he doesn't seem to be skilled for stealth.
So I could probably use these brambles to make me more stealthy.
Sure, I'll give you some points of cover for that. Sure.
Can I ask if
'Cause, well, one of my
Okay.
contracts, while outdoors or around a lot of plants, make nature aid you.
Viridian Embrace. Yes. That sounds fantastic. Okay, so would you like to try to use Viridian Embrace? So that, and that's one of the contracts that will continue to give a bonus throughout the scene. So it's not just like a one-time thing.
Okay. Do we want to try to get up the tree to where the nest is, or what are you guys thinking?
You're probably going to need to enter the orchard before you try and get up the tree.
Oh, gotcha.
Because you're still out, kind of.
Okay.
You're still kind of in the driveway.
We
Got it.
also need to know the well. If we know exactly where the well is in relationship to the nest, then we can figure out.
Could I use primordial voice to talk to the plants on where this well is?
Sure. Let me take a look at that skill. Primordial voice. Talk to related elements. And yes, you are a plant girl. So going to ask about anything in that area that occurred in the last day. More successes increase how far back you can receive answers. Lasts about 5 minutes. So you would like to use that to talk to the brambles themselves to see what?
To see if they know the location of the well.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, let's
in, I guess, relation to the tree.
Okay, sure. So this is going to last around 5 minutes, so it's not like you're just going to get one question or anything. Let's see if you can activate it, and we'll see who you want to talk to and what you want to ask them. Okay. So your catch is, if you would like to make an offering to the element, water plants, weed the area, do something of a kindness to the plants, or you could just go ahead and spend a point of glamour. Which would you like to do?
I'll do kindness to the plants, like kind of like I go over to one of the brambles that's moving and let it wrap itself around my arm and kind of pet it gently
Aw, it's a pretty plant. Look at the pretty
Nice.
plant.
Very nice
Okay,
plant.
awesome.
Frankie's right next to you trying to like set one on fire.
Okay, fantastic. So we're going to do that instead of the glamour. So what you're going to roll me is your socialize plus weird pool. Your weird is 1, and that's on the back, the top of the back sheet. And then your socialize is a social skill.
I think that's 1 as
Oh,
well.
fantastic. Okay, so you have a pool of 2. Let's see if there is okay, your seeming curse, just so you know, as a elemental, you're seeming curse because you're not, elementals tend to be even less humanoid than because they're so closely associated with those non-human elements like electricity and water and that kind of thing. So you don't get on roles that involve manipulation, expression, empathy, persuasion, or socialize. You don't get the 10 again. So your successes will not explode.
Okay. All right, here we go. So I'm going to. Oh, I got 2.
Fantastic. Awesome. So you have successfully forged a bond with these with plants in this area. So that will include both the brambles that are kind of in between you and the clearing, and anything that's left over from farming, and in fact even the tree itself that the nest is in. So who would you like to talk to, and what would you like to say?
Ooh. Now, you said I also have this bond with the tree.
Yes, you're not close enough to really talk to the, I mean, you could yell, but you're not really super close to the tree right now. You're basically kind of like outside of the front porch, and you've got the brambles there, and
Okay.
then inside the house you've got what would be a house if you were moving into it. You've got the other farm plants, and then at the center of the clearing there is one very, very tall tree that has the nest up.
Okay.
Yes.
I think I'll talk with the brambles since they're ever moving, and ask if they've seen. I don't know. Is there anything special about this well?
About the well?
Yeah.
Nope, just a well. Provided water for the farm when it was going.
Okay, but this is the well that we need to drop the, right.
Mhm.
So I would ask them if they've seen a well.
Well. Oh, well. What's a well?
Oh, they are plants. Have you noticed movement of water underground?
Oh, yes. Yes, water grows underground all the time. Moves around. We stick our little feet in it.
And is there a place where it is centralized
Hmm.
in the general area?
Oh, you mean the big water?
Yes,
Deep
the
water.
big water.
The deep water. Yes, the deep water. We
And
can't
where-
quite reach it. We try. For so long. We've tried. They kept us from reaching it, and we still try, but it's been a long time. We can't quite reach it.
And whereabouts would I find the deep water?
Oh, the deep water. Well, that tree, the greedy tree, sticks its roots in it all the time. It won't share. We have to make do with what's over here. It has all the water in the deep well that it could possibly want, and it won't share any of it with us. Can you believe it? Trees are like that. They're greedy.
So rude.
They don't care about anyone but themselves.
Very rude. So, yes, I see that. Talk to the tree. I did not want to yell and disturb anything, but thank you for the information. I'm gonna have a talk with that tree about sharing.
Yes, it should let us stick our feet in too. Our roots need the water too. It has plenty. There's so much there. It couldn't drink it all. Not in 100 years. Not in 100 million years. It couldn't.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly. So then I guess, does anyone else want to do anything, or should I just like kind of march over to the tree?
Oh,
Do you
wait,
guys
no passing,
hear-
no passing. You can't go through. It's That's our job, to make sure people don't go through.
Oh, but I thought you wanted to drink
We want
from
the deep water.
drink from the deep water.
We do. Would you bring us some deep water? If you bring us some deep water, we'll let you through.
I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments. I most certainly can bring you some deep water, and I can talk to that tree about sharing with you in the future.
Promise?
I do promise. As one of you, I don't know how to say this.
It gets like you're not actually having to verbalize all of this. There's a lot of like stuff that's coming through via body language and that kind of thing. So as soon as you promise, the brambles part right in front of you, and you see a clear path forward into the orchard.
Okay. Okay. I guess
Talking to the plants again, Ash.
the plants have cleared the way for us, I'll have you know.
Can you go ahead and ask them to just throw the bird's nest out of the tree then?
That is a good idea, Alex. Yes.
But what if they made friends with the tree?
What?
Didn't you make friends with the tree too?
I haven't talked to the tree yet. I'm on my way to do that. It's a very rude tree, so I bet you anything he did make friends.
All right.
So the brambles,
We
as the
could
brambles
ask
are
the
moving
tree.
to get out of the way,
Yeah.
you hear something from up above. It's just movement. It's sounds like it's coming probably from up at the top of the tree. That like there's some notice going on, that there has been movement and voices going on down below.
Can anyone talk to animals?
Talk to what?
Animals. I'm not saying that we shouldn't deal with the crows, but I think it'd be wise if we at least understand why they're here in the first place.
Hey, crows!
Well,
Come on down here. We got to chat with you.
I don't know if the primordial voice doesn't pertain to animals, does it? It's more so
Just
elements.
the elements.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Woohoo!
I can talk to birds, but these birds don't really want to listen.
We'll make them listen, Sky. Don't worry.
Wait. Do we know that? Like, completely that they do not want to talk to anybody whatsoever, and there's no way we can persuade them? Or intimidate?
I personally haven't tried, but every other bird I know stays away from this area because the crows will just eat them.
Correct. Then maybe they need to know who the biggest bird is. If not, then we'll just roast them.
That's Rip.
Rip is the biggest bird. Gah, gah.
We could make some wings out of these blackberry brambles and pretend he's a bird.
Oh my God. Yes. And Frankie's just gonna start like grabbing things and like wrapping them around Rip's arm. Like, hey, is this okay? I'm gonna like, are we good here? Just like putting things on you, Rip.
Fine.
Now, like, flap your arms.
Oh, yeah. Like
And
a
then
living
yell at them
Christmas
to get
tree.
down here because they're not listening to me.
Hey, bird, get down here.
Wait. I need to know if this if this is possible, because we don't know the birds' names, right?
Bobby!
No.
Okay.
You have not yet been introduced to the birds.
Cool. I have witch's intuition. I can acquire knowledge of one of the subject's fears.
Ooh.
The catch is I can't know the character's name.
Oh,
Can I figure out
that's
what the
super
birds are
handy.
scared of?
You okay? Let me take a look at that. So you have not yet seen the birds.
Mm-hmm.
They're still up in the nest. So you would need to be able to at least see them to know to target them, basically.
Okay.
Bigger flaps, Rip.
Sky, can you make the
I don't think this is
bird-
working.
I don't know, make the bird noises, Sky. You can call out to them.
Do you want to try doing that, Sky?
Yeah, I guess I can try and talk to them.
Okay.
Check that. We're talking. Well, Sky's talking to the bird. Ash, this might be a good time to talk to the tree as well. So the tree might be less inclined if the birds are not, there to be a little bit more open with you.
Like, doesn't Alex look like a chess piece or something like that? Or is that like, do we look human? And that's like your true form?
You all look vaguely humanoid now. So what happens when you're taken into Arcadia is the true fae will shape you into whatever they want. You could be a concubine, you could be a chess piece, you could be a brick in the wall. And when you escape one way or another, like if you're a brick in the wall, it's really hard to escape. But maybe other people take you with. And this is what happened in Alex's case is he was basically, and I think someone else who had Ash lost all of her memories of the real world, so she didn't have anything to kind of like lead her back. But once you get taken back out of Arcadia, you revert to kind of a humanoid form that still has elements of what, not necessarily what you were shaped as before, but elements based on what you went through. So in Alex's case, although he was shaped into a chess piece, his role was to go through battle after battle after battle after battle, and so his form that when he came back into the real world was more of like a humanoid dragony kind of thing, kind of like a tiefling, but he could just as easily have been shaped vaguely like a human sized chess piece or that kind of thing. That would have probably just been a different seeming in kith. So people who have gone through the same exact durance can manifest because of how they coped with it and how their basic nature was and how they learned to deal with it. They can manifest as completely different seemings and kiths.
Got it. Okay.
So as you've gone through the brambles, you can see an area. It's probably half the size of a football field. That's a clearing that all surrounded by brambles on all sides. There are some small buildings that have been fallen to repair. There's a lot of shrubs and like berry bushes and things like that. Some raised beds. There's a couple of what look to be like small apple-sized trees or pear-sized trees, not super tall, but like maybe 20 feet tall or so. And then there is this what looks like it was probably used to be a conifer of some sort that stands head and shoulders above the rest of them at the absolute center of the clearing. Near the base of it there are a couple little buildings. One looks like it used to be like a wood shed. There is definitely a round well type location. It's got a cover on it like a cistern, but it's well shaped. And up in the top of the tree you've got to climb quite a bit up, probably 20 feet or so up before you get to the first branch. After that, it gets a little bit easier, but it's still mostly a great big trunk with occasional branches branching out of it, not a real like oaky, rounded top kind of tree. And at the very top, there is a split where this big, huge nest is located. Let's see. Sky, you were going to attempt to talk to the birds and call them out so that you can at least see them. Okay. So you would you like to actually, you know what? Normally you can't target something you can't see, but being as though you know that they're up there, you've seen them before, I'm going to let you run this contract. I'm going to give you a 1 die penalty because you can't actually physically see them, but it'll work well for the story,
Okay.
for the contract to at least have a chance of working. So that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
So you're going to run your dice pool as your weird plus your animal can. Roll that many die.
Let's-
Oh, actually, roll that many die -1 because you're taking a one penalty.
I get 2 dice.
And your seeming blessing
And-
gives you an 8 again on rolls using animal ken. So not only do you re-roll anything that comes up a 10, you roll anything that comes up an 8, 9, or 10. So any success you have is going to explode.
I got 2 1s. So
You got 2 1s.
nope.
Bless your heart. You're like standing there going, birds. But yo birds. And yeah, like something comes like over the edge of the nest and drops down. It's a big old chunk of broken eggshell. It's the outside is black, the inside is like pearlescent shiny, and you would guess from this piece that the eggshell or that the egg itself, when it was whole, was bigger than a basketball, and it just kind of falls kind of near you guys. It obviously wasn't really aimed because it was just tossed out of the nest, but so, and Ash, you said you were going to try and talk to the tree?
You're muted.
You're muted, sweetie.
Yep, just saw that pop up. Yes, I was gonna try and talk to the tree.
Okay. So you've already got that contract activated. It'll stay active for the rest of the scene. So what would you like to say to the tree?
What should I say, guys?
Oh, you guys would also notice, I don't know if I explicitly said it, that while the brambles that surround this, the ones you went through and the ones that surround it are they're still very healthy. They do look a little changed compared to the ones you've seen on your way through. But once you step like 2 steps inside of that ring of brambles, the plants growing around, from the grass that's growing up through the cobblestones to, you know, what shrubs and little trees and even the big tree itself, they just get worse and worse and worse. And the tree is practically black.
How's Ash looking?
Ash looks fine so far. You guys have only been in here for like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Tell that tree to knock him out. Like, just kick him on out. We gotta talk to him.
So, dear tree, it looks like you have some inhabitants.
Yes.
What can you tell me about these inhabitants?
They're birds. There's some bugs.
Some
Bugs. And
Bugs?
birds.
and birds. Okay. And about those birds,
They make me tired.
I'm wondering why you haven't shaken them out of your branches.
Do I look like a person to you? The wind moves me. Maybe one day, long ago, I could have. But not anymore. It's just, I'm tired.
Now, do I sense that the tree is tired because of kind of like the state of everything?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's this is, if this was a person, they'd be in hospice care. They're on their last legs.
So
You can tell-
potentially this vial would be medicine to them.
Perhaps.
What's the tree saying, hun?
The tree is tired. The birds have taken all of its energy.
So would you say it's particularly dry?
It's more ichor colored. Like mossy ichor lichen, kind of just unhealthy looking drapings. It doesn't have any fresh needles on it. The branches that, the only branches that are remaining are the ones that are big and solid. All the smaller branches have broken off long ago.
Okay. So
The tree
If-
looks sick.
yes, the tree is sick. If I were to potentially
wait.
make you feel better and gain the strength you once had, would you be able to knock the birds out of this tree, out of your branches?
They would just come back. They always come back.
Oh,
Does your
boy.
tree friend want to be helped, or does it want to be put out of its misery? And Frankie like lights her lighter. Ask him.
Bad. Of course the tree
Decide what
doesn't
goes
want
up
to
quicker.
die.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You said it's pretty miserable. It looks pretty miserable.
I think you're forgetting about the vial we have.
Yeah, but
Okay,
we're
so
supposed
you
to put
guys
that in
are
the well.
having, and your guys are having an animated conversation at the base of this tree,
Yes.
and from up above
Oh
you,
yeah.
there is scrambling, and you see it puts the and as it comes out of the nest, it basically puts the whole like clearing like directly over you guys in shadow. There is a bird takes off from the nest, and it leaps off from the nest into the sky, batting its wings. Tiny little bits of nesting material and nastiness fall down around you. Nothing big enough to hurt you, but it's not fun. If you look up, you're getting stuff in your eyes. It's not fun. And this bird starts just cawing, and its caw is loud enough that it feels like it's shaking the tree. The plants in the area are, just kind of vibrating a little bit with how loud this thing's caw is. And there's more cawing that's coming from the nest itself as this thing starts to circle the clearing.
Okay, since I can.
Can I curse it?
Wait, can I can see it. Can I see what it's scared of?
Sure.
Okay.
That's a better
Then
idea.
Then you can, you can curse it. We just need to see what it's first scared of.
Okay,
Because there's
so
other things that you can curse too.
So let's see.
Perfect.
Its composure is 1. So you're going to use for witch's intuition, you're going to use your wits plus your weird minus the subject's composure. So whatever your dice pool is, subtract 1, because the carrion crows have a composure of 1.
Okay, so I'm using my wits plus my weird.
Yeah, wits plus weird. Weird is on the second page
Okay.
in traits.
3, 4. And so I minus that. Wait, okay. Wait. Make sure. What's 3? So literally 3. Okay. 3d10. I got 1 success.
Fantastic. Okay, so you would note that this bird is afraid of things killing its children.
Oh, charming. So my character frowns. We're dealing with a scared mother. There's babies up there.
Oh,
All right.
crap.
Guy, can you...
There were 2 eggs in the nest last time you guys visited here, and you guys have just seen a big shard of eggshell come down. So,
All right. Guy,
So we're not killing moms and babies. Is that what you're saying?
for the moment, the fact is we still don't know, outside of them being birds, why they're carrying this pestilence. Were they cursed? Is this natural? Sky, is there any way for you to try to talk to this bird?
You want to give it another try, Sky? Do you want to try and talk to the birds again?
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. Sorry, it didn't register.
That's okay. That's okay. We're calling you by a different
Yeah.
name. So, yeah. So if you want to
Yeah.
try and talk to the bird again,
see.
you can call out to it. Now that you can see it, you're not at any penalties or anything. And in fact,
Okay.
if you want to try to give it a new name, so a name in general, you don't even have to spend glamour on it because that's your catch.
Okay. Just like naming one of the birds.
Yep.
Basically.
Yeah. Basically, could
Okay.
call out to it. You could give it a complimentary name. You could give it an insulting name. You could just, call it Jackaday or whatever pleases your character.
Just gonna be like, hey Bob,
Yes.
you need to listen to me.
Fantastic. Okay, roll me weird plus
and-
animal kin, and you
Which
still
is
have those 8
3.
yens.
Nothing.
Oh dear. Would you like to spend a glamour to get 1 extra die for that die pool? See if that helps. Being so you didn't have to
Sure.
spend
do
glamour
that.
on your thing. And so you're looking for either 8, 9, or 10s.
Nope, the dice are not my friend tonight.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Unfortunately, whether you can talk to the bird or not, it's kind of intent on coming down to you guys at this point. So you can see this thing start spiraling, and it's obviously kind of making its way down to the point where it can land in the clearing. As it starts coming down, another one about the same size takes off out of the nest and is building up height.
And
How would the rest of you guys like to?
can I spend another glamour point to know what this crow is, just to know we're on the same page of this being a family of crows? And
Sure, you want to use witch's intuition on it too?
sure,
Sure, yeah.
I just want to make sure that we're dealing with a non-hostile, just crows being crows, but pestilent crows, before we, murder them all.
While Gray is doing that, would I be able to so I've got this baleful sense,
Okay.
and like hearing Gray talk about like, they're afraid and maybe there's a curse or something like that, I feel like Frankie would be like, oh, you think like there's something more wrathful. Would that apply to this, that I could like sense something
you
like that?
definitely, yeah, you definitely could what the baleful sense will allow you to pick out what in your area is the most wrathful, the most full of anger right now presently.
Okay.
So first I want to check in with all of you guys. Are any of you guys full of anger right now? No, not really. Okay, cool. Then go ahead.
Okay. Wits
so-
and weird.
Wits and weird. Are you angry, Frankie? Because
Well, yeah, she wanted to kill
Okay.
some crows, and now like I have all these like a hockey stick and
feelings.
pokey things and nothing to murder.
That's totally fair.
yeah.
So that is your catch. So you don't have to spend glamour. So just roll me your wits plus your weird.
Okay, wits and weird. Got it. 1, 2, 3. One of them's a 10. I re-roll that, right? So 4 altogether then.
Fantastic. The bird that is coming down the lowest is the most wrathful thing in the area. But you get the feeling it's not like overwhelmingly. It's more defensive than it is like, I'm mad at you and I'm coming to kill you because I'm mad at you. It doesn't like that you're in its territory, but but it's not. It's more of a defensive, territorial kind of reaction than anything else.
Hey, Gray, this thing is like defensively angry at us. Can you tell if it's also like one of the mamas or something? Like, what's going on here?
I got a 10 and an 8.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, yeah. The other bird, same sort of thing. It is also concerned about its mate, which is on the creature that's on its way down to you.
Hey, Gray nods. Yep, same deal. That one's worried about this one that's
Tree and
coming
kill its
down,
babies.
and this one is scared about the babies. We're literally dealing with a family of crows. A murder of crows. Right. So,
So would I be able to use my goblin's malignance to um make the birds target each other rather than us?
You could definitely try. You can definitely try. So Goblin's Malignus redirects a target's wrath onto a new target. The catch is victim of target's wrath owes the lost a favor, or the target is a redhead. Neither one of those are applicable right now. So you're going to spend a point of glamour, and you're going to use manipulation plus persuasion.
So my my seeming, I can spend additional glamour to add more dice to that pool.
Fantastic. So you can go ahead and do that. You have, if you haven't spent any, you have 5 glamour.
Specifically. Yeah. Okay. So
As you're getting ready to do this, a voice that sounds like a human equivalent of cawing comes from the crow that is coming down, and it says, "Get out."
Did that sound like words to you guys?
yes. My character's
So I'm not crazy.
crow. My character kind of looks crow person.
You get out.
Your
Take your kids.
My home. Get out.
Your presence is murdering everything. Why? You're killing the land.
Strangely enough, the crow, the lower crow, circles again and lands, not within arm's reach of you guys, and not within whip reach or hockey stick reach of Frankie, but it lands like on the cistern of the well, and it literally, its claws are big enough that this well is probably yay big around, and its claws like basically kind of crunch into the stone, and it's looking at Gray like it's listening to them.
Okay. I will give a small nod. Mother Crow, we don't mean you harm or your family. However, your presence is seemingly killing the tree and the land. We wish.
Wherever we go, it kills. We cannot help it.
Has your presence always killed the earth?
And it's really interesting. It's hard to tell with birds. Sky, you are right on top of this. You understand this animal's body language, and you can tell the emotions in his face. The rest of you, it takes a little bit to like get what they're trying to communicate. But Sky, you know this creature. When Gray asks that, this creature has just like regret and sorrow crossing its beak and through its eyes. Which was not always the way.
Can I use my medicine, my science, some kind of roll to figure out if, at least if it's something I could possibly heal? Because I'd be medicine.
Yeah. Whatever is going on here, I mean, you don't know of any kind of medicinal thing that would cause giant bird creatures to cause blight. Yeah, that's just, you've never heard of anything like that. I'd say, what, why don't you give me, knowing that you don't know anything about it from a medical standpoint, why don't you give me a wits plus occult roll?
Right.
I'm gonna pull out the fruit we were given while Gray is working on that and just kind of hold it out.
It kind of glances at it, it's watching, but it's also, its glance is flickering between all of you. It's obvious that it doesn't want to get like ambushed or
2, a 10, and a 9.
okay. Re-roll the 10.
Okay.
Did you get an 8, 9, or 10?
I got an 8.
Fantastic. Oh, so you've got 3 successes. This feels like a curse to you. This is not anything like physically natural.
Okay.
And the fact that it started at some point it feels like something that happened to this creature, not something that it was with, and you've never heard of anything like naturally or supernaturally occurring that was like a disease or an infection, so your gut is telling you there's something happened.
Okay. Mother Crow.
So,
Okay, actually, Sky. I would tell Sky the crow has been cursed. I don't know by whom or by what, but it has been cursed. That is why its presence does this. It is not the crow's fault. Somebody or thing has done this to the crow.
so I noticed the regret on the crow's face. So I approach and just bird to bird. May I ask what happened to cause this?
We broke a promise, and now for 100 years, 100 years, we are cursed.
Was it a promise to Rosamond? Because we're gonna be real screwed if it was.
Who is Rosamond?
The spring lady, spring queen?
I do not know this. It was one of the good neighbors, the fair folk, the ones of which we do not speak, lest they come and take us away again.
So that would be like the big, angry, high fae type of people. Just
I think you're making them nervous.
sorry, no, I'm asking Jess. Just
Oh yes,
Oh.
yes. Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, definitely. This bird is definitely referring to one of the true fae.
okay. Just wanted to make sure that's
Yeah.
why
So-
the neighbors and what have you. So yeah.
Do you think these
Would
fruit
I
would help
know?
them, guys?
What were you saying, Hallie? Would you know?
Oh, would I know if whatever pledge they broke could somehow be resolved? Would
You could
this
ask
curse go away?
That's how curses normally work. Like normally there's a way that they can get done. And you could ask the bird.
Okay. What promise did you break to cause this? Is there any way that it can be fixed?
We must spend 100 years. I have spent 36. My mate has spent 20. We have lost fledglings. Their loss has taken away more. To break it, we must We must spend that time, lose that time. When the fledglings died, that took away time. Mm, You could give time. You would die early, but you could give time. I cannot give enough. I must live it out. But when the youngs die early, it takes time away. We can sense it. We can feel the weight lift. There are still there are still 30 years left. We must live out 15 and 15. The bird looks up at its mate. 15 and 15, minus as many fledglings as we lose. You could give time. No one gives time. Just us.
What if we split it between all 6?
Yeah, Sky, are you telling us all this?
Oh, it's speaking English.
Oh, it's speaking to
Yeah,
all of us.
it's
Oh, I thought
speaking.
it was like
I mean, it's a
Sky
pretty
and the
rough and
birds.
caw version of English, but yeah, poor Sky has not been able to activate her special bird magic at all. This raven is like literally clinging to the edge of the well, looking at her and talking in as close to human words as raven beaks can make.
So to the raven. So okay, so it was 15 and 15.
That's only 5 years between, like, for each of us. Let's just do this.
He does not. Before, if we give time, Mother Crow, can you tell us who cursed you and why they cursed you? What promise did you break?
We long ago, when there were far less people, there was a flood. Water covered everything. We were on the boat. The man, not we, not my mate and I, but our parents, so long ago. We were sent out to find land, but our parents did not come back. They gorged themselves on the dead that they found as the waters were receding. Since then, we have had to serve the true Fae, each generation of my family. I chose not to serve. I ran. And for 100 years, the land around me must suffer. My mate, knowing this, still joined with me and shared my burden. My babes, born of me, shared my burden. But because we would not serve, the land around us must die.
Okay. Jess, question. Is this one of those things like, are people allowed to say who the true Fae that, because there's different ones.
Uh-huh.
So are they able to tell us exactly who the one did that now is, cursed this family to, serve them?
it is, there's nothing to stop them from it, but if you poke the bird in that direction, the bird just knows
Okay.
they are the one that her family has served forever.
All right. So, okay. So my character nods right. We will give it hard years to break this curse.
The bird looks incredulous, and she locks eyes with each of you in turn, like looking for agreement that this is. You might as well have just told her that you were going to rip off your heads now and play basketball with them. She's just like, "Is my understanding you right?" She looks at you, Sky. She locks dark black eyes with you. You would give to lift our curse?
Each of us has escaped serving the true Fae, so I think we all understand the choice you made.
She looks at she's probably one of the only creatures in your entire life that's ever looked down at you, Rip. And she locks eyes with you. You would give?
Yeah.
She looks at the draconic. You would give?
Yeah.
She looks at Frankie. It's like, you would give?
Sure, why not?
And last, she looks at the tree person. You would give?
I'm just kind of standing there like, I'm ditzy. But yes.
So as each of you agree, you feel tired. Like you feel, like if you've come out of the flu or something, you're just like, you're not sick, you're just not quite full up on gumption. And the bird, like, as like realization is coming over its face, the bird shrinks, like slowly. It's human size, and in a breath or two, it's like bald eagle size. And if you look up, the same thing is happening with the big crow above. And within just a matter of less than a minute, what is sitting on the cistern of the well is a pretty good sized raven, but its claws are no longer dripping ichor, its beak is no longer gnarled. It's just a really, really incredulous looking raven. And it looks at you, and it looks at itself, and it takes wing and starts circling, gaining speed, and it goes up, and it's like doing this like intricate like swirling with and like partially falling with kind of like aerial dance with its mates. And these two birds are like the embodiment of weight lifted from its chest. We have been freed from this burden. And they both go up, they perch on the edge of the nest, and they pause there a minute, and there's like cawing going back and forth between them, and then they take off again, and two more smaller birds accompany with them, and they wing it the heck out of there. Like they are gone. And as they go, a black feather, a little bit bigger than a normal raven's would be, falls out of the sky and does that kind of like helicopter thing that feathers will do when they're falling, and lands kind of right like on the cistern of the well before they disappear. So what do you do now?
Well, the well is there, so I kind of look back. Well, the birds are dealt with. There's the well.
Didn't somebody need a feather earlier? There's a feather.
I think that was
Rip.
Who needed
Rip, here's a
more?
feather.
Save it. Can I remove the covering of the well?
It's really, really heavy. You try. Let me see what your strength is, dear.
Not much.
Your strength is 2. You could try. You by yourself, it's probably going to take like you're working at it. It's like trying to raise a manhole cover. I mean, it's except the manhole's like arm's width around. It's probably yay deep in metal. There's a couple places where you can like stick your fingers in and stuff, but you're barely moving it on your own.
So it sounds like this is a job for Rick.
So Rip walks over and just kind of casually tosses it aside.
Yeah, if let's see. Rip, where are you at? Whoops, there we go. So strangely enough, Rip, your strength is not that much bigger than hers is, but you have this really handy thing you can do where you can spend glamour and increase it. So do you want to boost it a bit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Rip makes this look easy. Like he knows there's goblin fruit around and he's gonna have a picnic afterwards. He just basically is like, and it like goes flying across the clearing, and inside of it is a deep, deep, deep well, and you can feel there's like cool, wet, breeze coming up from underneath it. It's deep water.
Who's got the vial?
I do.
Well, Rip got this thing open. Let's just toss it in.
Well, can we collect some in it too, with the water?
Yes, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to collect some because I promised my vine friends.
Might want to purify it first.
Oh,
The
the
tree was
vine.
drinking it just fine. Oh.
If you look around, you can find some sort of there's like a bucket with a rope that used to be used for dragging it up. It's in pretty gnarly repair, but it's it'll hold water mostly.
Right. So do we collect a sample or just, I guess I'll collect some in the bucket for my vine friends, and I guess dump the vial inside the well.
Okay. So you collect some up. The water that's come up, it looks kind of brackish. It looks like not great water. Probably fine for watering plants. You probably wouldn't want to drink it yourself. But when you pop the top on the vial, the first thing you notice is the smell that comes out of the liquid in the vial is like fresh cut grass. Just overwhelming, just delightful, like perfect growing early spring morning kind of scent. And it fizzes just a little bit. And when you pour it in, because it's still glowing emerald, when you pour it in, you can see it's going down, and it goes down a long way. This is obviously an old, deep well. And as it hits the bottom, you can hear the sound of water hitting water, and it spreads out on the surface of the brackish water, kind of illuminating it down below. And the whole thing, rather than getting weaker and weaker, like the whole water, it's like the whole water starts glowing from the ground up. And it's glowing bright enough that you can actually look down the well and see, oh, there's the rocks that make the well edges all the way down below there. And the water is just glowing this glistening effervescent green. And so you have your sample of the water, and what do you guys want to do next?
I feel like you should swap out that water for some good stuff, Ash. Maybe just dump it back in there and then get a new sample. You're muted.
Hey, you don't understand. This is for the vines.
Yeah, but aren't they going to be happier with springy water?
I don't know, would they?
They might even flourish, right?
It's worth a try.
Ooh. Well, maybe I'll take some, oh, could I put some of the original water in the vial and then get a bucket of the, just in case.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you get out of the bucket of brackish water, you're able to get some of it inside the vial. Most of it pours down the sides, but that's okay because there's like 10 times more in the bucket than would fit in the vial anyway.
Right.
And you seal that up. So now you've got this really kind of icky looking vial of water. And you can drop the bucket back down and scoop up. And the water, once it's been separated up from the well, it doesn't glow in the same way that the vial did or the water down below does, but it's obviously just beautiful fresh water. It's delightful. Like you want to just like slurp it.
Pay the toll.
Pay the toll?
But yeah, they let us through in exchange for water. Now we got to go pay it, right?
Okay, we're on our way home. So then I walk over to the brambles that were in the front of the house and just set the bucket down and kind of present it. Like, voila. I have made
the brambles kind of like they kind of like they're kind of trying to like move like towards it, but it's obvious that they're going to need some help getting it like tipped over into their roots and that kind of thing because they're not like hands per se.
Oh, I don't know how fast they can move. Apparently they can. Okay. So I say, oh, here, let me help you. And I start to water them.
Wonderful. The water soaks in and the brambles like they take on this like iridescent kind of green and you can see it spreading out from like where you poured the water. And you know, kind of it grows along the bramble lines and that kind of thing. And the brambles kind of shudder and they look at you and they say, please tell our queen we anxiously await her arrival.
Will do.
Not want to pour a bit on the tree.
Oh, okay. So are you going to also speak with the tree, Ash, after Gray has poured some water on it?
Yes.
Okay. The tree that you can, again, takes a little bit longer for this because it's a much bigger, older creature, but it almost immediately you start seeing some effect. And the tree also just kind of like perks up over the next few minutes and looks at you and it says, please tell my queen that we anxiously await her arrival.
Will do if you promise me to share some of the lovely water down there with my bramble friends.
They are barred from coming this far. The magics which hold this hollow keep the brambles from intruding, else they would take it over completely. Those who come here may share it, but it is not within my power to do so, else the hollow would be no more. So basically they're telling you that whoever exerted their energy on this hollow to carve it out from the hedge, part of that boundary is that the brambles can't get all the way into the well.
Magical weed control.
Basically what you got to do. So guys, we're like at the 2.5 hour mark. So we're going to wrap things up. You basically, what you would have gotten when you went back out and the queen was waiting for you is basically putting the vial in the well has healed it, but it's also claimed it as her territory, which is why the plants were asking for their monarch to come visit. So she has everything she said was true, but she also had some ulterior motives there to claim this lovely potential hollow for her own. So that will be something that the next cohort gets to deal with when they come through. So you've set up some lovely surprises for them. Does anyone have any questions or comments or anything that they wanted to bring up before we wrap things up?
No, I
Nothing
want
to
to say that the story was really nice.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun building each little cohort's adventures based on what the previous one did. It kind of gives it some continuity, and that way, if people are watching on Twitch, they kind of get an ongoing story going on, as opposed to being ran through the same story, 3 different times, 4 different times. Thank you guys all so much. This was so much fun for me. You guys are just took to this like a duck to water. I really, really appreciated you guys giving so much of yourself to the evening.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Thank you
time.
for running it.
Yeah, of course, my pleasure. Be sure and
Thank you so much.
my pleasure. Please let Tony know any feedback that you have about it, how we can make these guest sessions better, because that's definitely our goal. It's really challenging to throw people in and introduce them to a new game and mechanics and possibility of how it could be applied therapeutically, all in a like 2.5 hour session. So definitely give him any feedback. I'm sure he'll be checking in with you guys. But thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys so much. This was really, really fun for me. Have a good evening, okay?
Yes.
You too.
Thank
Good
you. You
night.
too.